And on to the big game, the one that Husker Nation has been waiting for ever since that guy returned that botched extra point attempt for 2 points, ultimately sealing our doom in that game last year in Norman. They're coming up to Lincoln. They have a brand new coaching staff, brand new head coach who's got a lot of Power 5 experience as a coordinator, none as a head coach. To me, this is another one of those toss-up games. You come into this game 3-0. We come into this game 3-0, and I have no issue with picking this as a toss-up. We come into this game 2-1. Not a lot of confidence in the team, I think, and it could get scary fairly quickly. Go ahead, Scott. Why don't you go ahead and lay out what you think is going to happen in this game, and then throw a score at us.
Yeah, it's the context really, really matters, like you said, Dad. Like if we're 3-0 going into this game and we actually see an offense that's clicking, everybody is synchronized with each other, our defense finds their feet, and they're making the right decisions throughout games, I have no issue with considering it a toss-up. But the other context, if we are going in 2-1, with that first loss being against Northwestern, like that's just not setting yourself up for success in this game. Even though last year we gave them all sorts of hell and we had the same context then. So it's like, well, could we do it? But I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to assume based on, I got to assume my position of we are 3-0 going into this game. And I do think it's a toss up, but I don't see us winning it. I see it being a very, very close game that ends up breaking my heart, and I'm just going to be mentally prepared for that. The areas that, yes, I am going to be optimistic about is the fact that, yes, you've got Brent Venables, first time head coaching gig. He did some good things at Clemson. He did some good things at Oklahoma when he was an assistant coach, his time there for, a decade or so. There's just going to be some, head coaching, rust, or not even rust. That's a bad metaphor. There's going to be some learning curves that I think Brent Venables is going to experience, especially with, let's see, what I had their schedule up. Here it is. Yeah. So they play the UTEP Miners, a Texas team, and then they play Kent State before going to Lincoln. So, we're going to be their first real test. And, assuming that Northwestern is somewhat formidable this year, we will have already had a test of some sort. So things going in favor. We've been tested. They haven't. New head coach. New head coach. And then just the fact that, you've got offensive coordinator Jeff Lebby coming from Ole Miss. Great offensive coordinator. Did some really good things for the Rebels. One of the things that I saw that intrigued me was that while they were 12th in the nation rushing for the rushing offense, they were 118th in time of possession, which comes with a passing attack, pass heavy, just go, fast, which is kind of what Oklahoma's been for, decades and whatnot. That seems like something that Nebraska could exploit. If we have a rested defense, if we have an offense that is getting lots of time to really work out their rhythm and stuff like that, I think that really bodes in favor of Nebraska. Okay. But here comes the prediction. My score prediction is going to be a higher scoring game. Just because of the way that the offenses are built with Mark Whipple as our offensive coordinator and Jeff Lebby as theirs. I think it's going to be something like a 38 to 34. I think it's going to be just a back and forth slobber knocker with Oklahoma winning. And we take our first loss of the season, but it's close and it's in heartbreak fashion. Don't know if we're the ones going down the score or going down the field behind 4 points, or if they're the ones marching down and get a game-winning walk-off touchdown. one of those two scenarios is what I see. It's going to go right down to the end.
All right, Dustin, what do you got?
Yeah, first of all, I'm going to agree with both of you, and I think the context of the situation definitely matters, so I won't reiterate that. But what's going to be interesting to me is I think we find out more about Oklahoma in that game than we do maybe Nebraska, just because there's so many question marks, because as you mentioned, Scott, they go into that game untested. And there are some people that think Oklahoma could be a 500 team because of all the changes, all the losses to the transfer portal. All that kind of stuff. There's other. I think I saw ESPN or somebody that has them, as the favorite to win the Big 12 and an outside contender to the college football playoffs. So I don't really know what to expect from Oklahoma. I think they're going to be probably better defensively because that's Brent Venables' wheelhouse. And Clemson was. I always thought as good as they were offensively, they had some really, really stout defenses when he was running the show. So I think that Oklahoma is going to have a better defense probably than a lot of people think. Having said that, I said that I think Nebraska is going to beat Northwestern and then beat North Dakota, beat Georgia Southern. I think they're going to beat Oklahoma. And I have no issue saying this. I think they beat Oklahoma, but I still think we don't know a lot about Nebraska as then they'll head into the meat of the Big Ten season because I just don't know how good Oklahoma is going to be. So I could see Nebraska starting 4-0 and then again, when you get into the heart of that Big Ten season, the games kind of change a little bit. I could see them still struggling to get to that 6-win mark. I could see Nebraska losing this if Oklahoma's really good and still finishing with 8 or 9 wins. Like it's just a complete toss-up to me. So I think this is going to be a close game. I do think Nebraska wins because I think that they have the mindset. They get over that hurdle. They start 3-0. Big game. You get it at home. I don't know. Does it have a kickoff time yet? I don't remember.
Yeah, it's the Fox Big Noon kickoff.
So, okay.
11 Central Standard Time.
Okay.
11 a.m.
So you're not going to get game day there, but I still think it's obviously going to be a big enough draw. I think the final score is what's throwing me off here. I think don't rely on special teams in this game. I'm going to say Nebraska wins this one 28-27. I think they win a close game against a big-time opponent and get some serious momentum heading in then to the second half of the season. But like I said, just because they're 4-0 because they win that game, I still think there's some questions because I don't know. I just have a lot of questions about Oklahoma, to be honest.
Well, that's actually, I'm just going to say that's wonderful to hear because as a Husker fan and watching tons of sports pundits talk about Nebraska, like there's a lot of questions with Nebraska, but knowing that there's somebody who's like, but there's more questions with Oklahoma, that does my heart a good because it's like, okay, that kind of makes me just kind of sigh a little bit of sigh of relief.
Not to take us off track, but this is an interesting comment from the Go Big Redcast. It says it could be kind of reminiscent of 2016, wherein you started off 7-0 with a big win over Oregon, yet still didn't know much about the team yet. And Oregon turned out to not be very good. That was the year, we all remember that was the year that Helfrich got fired at the end of the year. You know who his offensive coordinator happened to be, Scott, just off the top of your head? It wasn't Frost. It wasn't Frost. It was Lubick, if I remember correctly. Matt Lubick was his offensive coordinator at the time. So that kind of explains
coordinator last year.
Yeah, kind of explains a little something there. And this could be very reminiscent of 2016 in the sense that I think I've gone back and forth on this game so many times. But Dustin, you've talked me into a win.
Shit!
You've talked me into a win.
Did we jinx it? Oh no!
Oh God, Dad, you did it! You did it! Here it is. This is the loop. Here we go. You made Dad drink Kool-Aid. There you go, bud. You drank the Kool-Aid.
Yep. I drank the Kool-Aid. I have a feeling after the OU game.
Rob.
After the OU game, it's going to be a little tough sledding. I'm not saying we're going to go 8-4 or even 9-3, but I have said on Twitter, and I will hold to this. I've been talking about getting a Husker tattoo for years. If Nebraska wins more than 8 games, I will get that Husker tattoo. Might be really, really small, but I will get it. So I'm picking a win as well, Dustin. I'm like right there with you. I think it's extremely close. I think the fact that we have a kicker now that we're going to have some confidence in, I think it's going to be 28-28 going down to the last 2 minutes of the quarter. Casey's going to drive us down, get us within 40 yards, and he's going to curl one right inside the right upright, just like old Alex Henry did against Colorado. And we win this game 31-28 because we don't have an Ndamukong Suh to knock the shit out of their quarterback, intercept the ball, and then take it back for a touchdown at the end. So I think we win it 31-28. That was a heck of a lot of fun, guys, taking a look at these games and trying to dive into them without diving too deep because, you know, Dustin, you're just hanging out outside hiking for a living and you just don't have time to dive too deep anymore. So we didn't want to stress you. And we don't dive all that deep either. We just have fun sitting here talking and running our pie holes because that's what we do best.